Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'du fa'uzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Qala Allah ta'ala fil Qur'anil Hakim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. كان الناس أمة واحدة فبعث الله النبيين مبشرين ومنذرين وأنزل معهم الكتاب بالحق ليحكم بين الناس فيما اختلفوا فيه صدق الله العظيم. This is the Friday Khutba of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman Ishat Islam Lahore UK branch on the 20th of March 2020. And my name is Zahid Aziz, and I've been asked to deliver this khutbah. I've just recited the beginning of a verse of the Holy Quran, Surah Baqarah, verse 213. And this part translates as follows: Kana naso ummatan wahidatan. Mankind is a single nation, a single ummah. So Allah raised prophets as givers of good news and as warners. And then God revealed with them the book with truth, that it may judge between people in matters in which they differ. Pointing to the beginning of this verse, Kanan Naso Ummatan Wahidatan, which Maulana Muhammad Ali Rahmatullah Alayh translates as mankind is a single nation. It is almost only Maulana Muhammad Ali who has translated these words as mankind is a single nation. Almost all others have translated it as mankind was a single nation. They take kana to mean the past tense. And they say that it means that at the beginning of human history, when there were only a few people around, mankind was a single nation then. But then it grew and spread and became different nations. But Maulana Muhammad Ali has translated it not in the past tense, but as mankind is a single nation. And similarly, there's another verse in chapter 10, and it's verse 19, which he translates as all people are nothing but a single nation. Again, he is the only one who has used the present tense there. So the general interpretation given is that mankind used to be in the beginning a single nation, and then it spread, and then Allah raised prophets among the different nations. But Maulana Muhammad Ali writes that this verse is actually describing a reality that mankind constitutes a single people. Not that only at the beginning it was a single nation. And he gives this interpretation because of his, what you might call world view, because of his basic view, the view which he acquired from the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement, that in this age, humanity is becoming more and more like one nation, because different nations are coming closer together due to developments in transport, travel, and communications. Of course, in other places in the Holy Quran, it does say that if Allah had pleased, He would have made all people as one nation, which seems to suggest that people aren't one nation, because it says that if Allah had pleased, He would have made all of you a single nation, or all people a single nation. But there is no contradiction here between saying that mankind is a single nation and that it also consists of separate nations. There is no contradiction. Mankind is one nation because it's the same laws of nature, the same laws of God that apply to each one of them. So that is why Allah raised prophets among all of them with guidance. They all had the same need for guidance, and Allah met their need. But despite being one nation, mankind also has differences. People have different physical appearances from birth. They speak different languages. They have different ways and customs. And the Holy Quran also refers to what it calls the diversity of your tongues and colors in chapter 30, verse 22. That the diversity of your tongues and colors, O human beings, is a sign that people possessing knowledge should ponder over. That is what that verse says. And this point about humanity being one nation, as well as being separate nations, is before our eyes now. Countries across the world are afflicted by the spread of the same virus. The virus which makes people ill in the same way. It doesn't discriminate on grounds of race, nation, color, or religion, but more on the basis of behavior, national behavior and individual behavior will increase your risk or reduce it. Yet the mankind being separate nations, the spread of this virus is different in different countries. And the steps which are taken in different countries are also different according to local conditions. So in that way, mankind consists of separate nations. The Holy Quran also tells us in a verse, which I'll recite in Arabic first, Ma asaba min musibatin fil ardi wala fi anfusikum illa fi kitabin min qabli an nabraha. No disaster befalls in the earth or in yourselves, but it is in a book before we bring it into existence. This is a chapter 57, Al-Hadid, verse 22. No disaster befalls in the earth or in yourselves, but it is in a book before Allah brings it into existence. What this means is that causes exist beforehand in the form of knowledge. Causes exist beforehand that lead to a calamity, whether it is for the world or for an individual. And that knowledge is what man must try to discover. What led to this? What were the causes? After, inshallah, this virus has been contained, mankind will have a lot more knowledge than it did before. And that knowledge will not be only about this virus, but it will be about many other things as well. You see, in the past, many great scientific discoveries were made purely by accident. People were trying to solve one problem, but during their work to solve that problem, they discovered by chance how to solve a completely unrelated problem. And in fact, in many cases, that became the main discovery then. Already it has been found now that factories and cars, trucks, etc., and planes are in much reduced operation. It has already been found that the level of pollutants in the air have been significantly reduced. So much so that someone has estimated the number of lives in China that have been saved because of this. And they say there are people alive who would have died from pollution if this virus had not spread. So there are people actually alive because of this unintended side effect. And the Holy Quran says at one point regarding a certain teaching, addressing Muslims in this case, but it's general. It may be that you dislike a thing while it is good for you, and it may be that you love a thing while it is harmful for you, and Allah knows while you do not know. Now, this is also connected with Allah's attribute, which people know well, of being Malik Yawmiddin, the fourth attribute given in Surah Fatiha after Rabbul Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, is Malik Yawmiddin, master of the day of judgment. And what that attribute of Allah means is that He brings us face to face with something which forces us out of indifference and out of our neglect and out of our complacency and forces us to change our course away from the path we had been following. And the Quran tells us, as most people know, most Muslims know, that ease, a situation of ease, can only be obtained after undergoing difficulty. فَإِنَّمَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّمَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Now, in the present crisis, we can see that our difficulties can be lessened if people show concern for others and don't behave selfishly. An improvement in behavior always reduces the burden of the trial and the tribulation being faced. An improvement in the behavior of the person who is subjected to that will reduce that burden. So this matter has a moral aspect as well. And it is a tried and tested method of all nations that prayer, turning to God, asking for His mercy and help, and doing good deeds, that works in such situations to make them more bearable for us and for others as well. According to the Quran, Allah answers the prayers of those in distress, whoever they may be. And it says, just move this here. قُلْ مَن يُنَجِّيكُم مِّن ظُلُمَاتِ الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ تَدْعُونَهُ تَضَرُّعًا وَخُفْيًا. That who say to people, who is it? Who is it that delivers you from the calamities of the land and the sea? That is posed as a question. When you call on Him in humility and in secret, and you say, if He delivers us from this, we will certainly be among the grateful people. Say, Allah delivers you from this and from every distress, yet you set up partners with Him. So a question is posed that who delivers you from these calamities of the land and the sea when you call on Him in humility and in secret, and you make this promise that if we are delivered, if this goes away, we'll be very grateful to God. And Allah gives the answer that it is Allah who delivers you from this and from every distress. قُلْ لِلَّهُ يُنَجِّيكُم مِّنْهَا. Say Allah delivers you from this. وَمِن كُلِّ كَرْبٍ. And from every other form of distress. ثُمَّ أَنْتُمْ تُشْرِكُونَ. But after that, you make others God in his place. Now, this tells us that God listens to people, whoever they may be, of whatever faith, and removes their distress. When those in distress pray, this is a well-established teaching of Islam, whoever they may be, Allah listens to their prayers. But then the Holy Quran also tells us that it is a law of human behavior. And this is how the Holy Quran puts that law of human behavior. I'll quote it in translation. When we remove his affliction from him, he passes on as though he had never called on us because of the affliction that touched him. So afterwards, when the trouble goes away, the person who would pray to Allah forgets that he did so, and he goes back to the previous course of his life as if nothing had happened. Now, while the Holy Quran says this, Allah doesn't say, because man does this, so I'll no longer deliver him from distress, because every time I do this, he then forgets me. No, despite man forgetting God after the affliction has been removed, God does not change his law. He sticks to the same law. He still listens to him on the next occasion of an affliction and grants him relief again. But all Allah said here is described man's response after the affliction is removed, and not that Allah is now going to react by not listening to their prayers again. And this is that merciful God as portrayed in the Holy Quran. During the life of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was once a drought in Mecca for some years. It apparently started before Hijrah, but it continued after the Holy Prophet ﷺ and Muslims had been forced to leave Mecca and settle in Medina. And it is said that this drought came on them because they had been persecuting Muslims. So after Hijrah, when the Holy Prophet was at Medina in the early days, Abu Sufyan, who was one of the heads of the opposition to the Holy Prophet in Mecca, one of the Quraysh chiefs, he especially came to him in Medina. This was in the early days before the Battle of Badr had taken place. He came to him in Medina with apparently some others as well and said, "O Muhammad, you order people to obey Allah and to do good to relatives, but the people of your tribe are dying. So pray to Allah for them." So the Holy Prophet ﷺ prayed for an end to the drought which his opponents were suffering, the drought which had been brought about apparently as a form of punishment for their persecution of Muslims. But on the appeal of Abu Sufyan, who came to Medina for this purpose, the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ prayed for an end to that drought, which then came about. So this clearly shows that one must always be praying for people to be delivered from calamities and afflictions, whether they are your own people or another people or even your worst opponents. There's another passage of the Holy Quran which I'd like to read here, which can be considered relevant in the present situation. Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ardi wa ikhtilafil layli wan nahari laayatin li ulil albab allazina yazkuruna Allaha qiyaman wa qu'udan wa ala junubihim wa yatafakkaruna fi khalqis samawati wal ardi rabbana ma khalaqta hadha batila subhanaka faqina adhaban nar. This is near the end of chapter 3, Surah Al Imran, verses 190 and 191. They mean, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alternation of the night and the day. Alternation means one following the other in this sequence going on. There are surely signs for people who possess understanding. Those people who remember Allah standing, sitting, lying on their sides, and who reflect on the creation of the heaven and the earth, saying, "Our Lord, you have not created this without purpose. Glory be to you, save us from the punishment of the fire." Now here it says, in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the alternation of the night and the day, contains a sign for people who exercise their power of reason and understanding. Now this is not only the physical night and day that the Holy Quran is talking about, following one another, but the alternation of circumstances between adversity and comfort, difficulty and ease, one coming, then giving way to the other, and this cycle going on. So that is also ikhtilaf al-layl wa nahar, that you can be in a dark period with darkness and pessimism all around and worry, or you can be in comfort and in brightness where there's no fear or worry. So that is also the same as that is included in this alternation of the night and the day. According to these verses, the message which is conveyed to us through the creation of the heavens and the earth and the variation of circumstances between good and bad, good circumstances and bad circumstances, that message can be read by those who possess the power of understanding and who then exercise that understanding. Now, there are two things mentioned here that they do, those people of understanding. They remember Allah under all conditions, whether they are standing or sitting or lying down, they remember Allah, and they reflect on the creation of the heavens and the earth. So when they see the world, they are reminded by everything of the power and glory of God. Those things remind these people of the power and glory of God and His power, which is beyond human control. So they remember Allah when they see such phenomena. But that's not all that they do. It is not only that they remember the greatness of God and call on Him for help. They reflect and ponder on these matters, on what is going on. They think about how creation works and what is going on in the world. Well, why are these circumstances changing from good to bad? And they conclude, Rabbana ma khalaqta haza batila. They conclude that all this is not without a reason and a purpose. And they want to do their duty towards creation and the creatures of God. It's not only that they remember God, but they reflect on the world. They reflect on the people of the world and what is happening in the world, which means they want to do their duty towards the creation and the creatures of God, because otherwise they will be subject to God's displeasure and driven away from Him. Save us from that punishment of the fire. So in the present circumstances, A Muslim's duty is both to turn to God and ask for His mercy and help, and to pray to Him that He may pray to Him that we may show the best moral qualities and conduct in these circumstances, the best moral behavior in these circumstances. So that is one side. And a Muslim's duty is also to support all the practical ways of combating the catastrophe and its effects on people. So they have to do both things equally. Now, in the end, I refer to an incident which is recorded in Sahih Bukhari, and people generally in discussions have referred to a part of it, but not to the whole of it. It relates to that saying of the Holy Prophet that if there is a plague somewhere or some pestilence of that kind which is catching, then you shouldn't go there. People who are outside shouldn't go there, and people who are there shouldn't come outside to mix with others. During the time of Hazrat Umar, he was preparing to go to Syria, and I think he might have gone somewhere along it for an important visit, when he learned that some pestilence like plague had broken out there. He was told this by the commander of the Muslims, Hazrat Abu Ubaidah. So Hazrat Umar then started consulting other people, other groups of Sahaba, on should we proceed there or should we turn back, because there's this plague or pestilence raging there. And some said, no, the visit is important, we must go ahead. Some said, no, we shouldn't. So eventually, Hazrat Umar agreed with those who said that we should turn back. And Abu Ubaidah said to Hazrat Umar, are you running away from the taqdeer of Allah? And Hazrat Umar said, I wish it was someone other than Abu Ubaidah. I wish it was someone other than you, Abu Ubaidah, who said this. You see, he said this because Abu Ubaidah was a very highly ranked Sahaba, the Sahabi of the Holy Prophet, whom Hazrat Umar considered as a fit person to be Khalifa after him, but he actually died in Hazrat Umar's time. So Hazrat Umar sighed at this and said, I wish it wasn't someone like you who said this. Are you running away from the taqdeer of Allah? Hazrat Umar said, I'm running away from the taqdeer of Allah to the taqdeer of Allah. Meaning that just as it is Allah's decree that there is plague in one place, it is also His decree that another place is safe. And then Hazrat Umar went on to give him this example that if a man has a camel and he sees two fields, one is full of grass and luxuriant, and the other is dry. Hazrat Umar said, if he goes to the luxuriant field full of grass, that is Allah's taqdeer. If he goes to the one which is completely dry, that is Allah's taqdeer also. What he meant was that the man with the camel has a choice in front of him. He can choose taqdeer A or he can choose taqdeer B. Both things have happened. The field full of vegetation where the camel can feed himself and the barren field, both are due to taqdeer or decree of Allah. But the man can choose. Whichever he chooses, whatever he chooses, that was actually brought about by Allah. Both of them. So, you see, such were the people who made Muslims a great nation. Because I have to say with regret that we generally are not like them. We don't have that same kind of thinking. So, with that hadith, then, I will end the first part of the khutbah. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quran al-Azim wa nafa'na wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim. Innahu ta'ala jawadun kareemun malikun barrur raufur rahim. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa nashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. And if you would like to repeat the durood after me. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. May Allah raise very high the name of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this world, so that people glorify him and people send their blessings on him, whether they are Muslims or non-Muslims. And we pray that may Allah keep all of us safe in these circumstances. May He grant us the right knowledge to act upon and to follow that knowledge. And that this may also be the case with everyone anywhere in the world who faces the same circumstances. And a prayer in these for healing is Azhibil Basa Rabbi Nase, that, O Lord of people, take away illnesses. Azhibil Basa Rabbi Nase, Vashve Anta Shafi. Vashve Anta Shafi. Grant healing, you are the healer. Vashve Anta Shafi. La Shafi La Anta. There is no healer except you. La Shifa La Shifa'uka. There is no healing except your healing. La Shifa La Shifa'uka. Shifan La Yubadiru Sakama. Your healing is such that it leaves behind not one trace of illness. Allahumma ansur man nasra dina Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa jalna minhum. Ameen. Allahumma akhzul man khazla dina Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa la tajalna minhum. Ameen. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i zil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'izukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. Ibadallah uzkurullah yazkurkum wadu yastajib lakum wala zikrullah ta'ala akbar. May Allah make the true teachings of Islam reach every person in the world, reach every corner in the world. And this great mission and heavy burden, which is passed down to a few people from the elders of the Anjuman-e-Ishat Islam Lahore, may we, with our weak hands, be able to carry it forward with our weak hands, and only with the help of Allah, carry it forward.